Hey y'all, and welcome back to another video by UmbrasDarkness. In today's video, you guys, I have part 4 of the PvP guide. There hasn't been any other requests in my Discord for PvP guide type stuff. There's been a couple of requests for seeing me battling live. I did a live stream once. We had about 21 people in there at most. I can try it again, trying streaming on YouTube. But for right now, I don't really know how that would go into a YouTube video. So this will be part 4 and final part with the player versus player tier list for special ants coming out hopefully in the Thursday. New cool thing, should have chapters down below on my YouTube. So if you want to skip because you don't feel like you need to know that part, or you already know that part, or you don't want to listen to me talk a lot about things that don't matter, totally fine, you guys. I'm going to try and divide this into 4 different chapters, for instance, in this video. My intro, player versus player, part 1, player versus player, part 2, player versus player, part 3, and outro. That being said, I'm also going to be doing the 2,800 subscriber giveaway, so I guess 5 chapters, or 6 chapters this video. Without any further ado, you guys, really think that you should stop at my Discord if you want a more complex look into player versus player. Without any further ado, you guys, sorry. Let's get into the first topic. Alright, you guys, so the first part of this topic that I want to talk to you guys about is when to shell special ants. This is a common question I get asked because I say Golden Spiney's trash or Driver's trash, and people are like, well, when do I shell it? I mean, should I shell it right now? So, first off, any special ant with skill 6 you keep until you get at least 3 special ants with skill 6. On top of that, if your 3 special ants you got with skill 6 are Giant Tooth, Slim Arched, and Golden Armor with all ranges of 2, right? You don't shell Golden Spiny because Golden Spiny is your only long-ranged ant. So you want to make sure that you keep those types of things in mind. You need to fill the role before you shell them. Now, if they only have skill 1 and skill 6 max, like let's say you got Golden Spiny, you unlocked his skill 1, his skill 6, and maxed them, and you haven't invested anything else in the special ant, specifically you haven't added any additional orange shells besides his skill 6, and you get a dupe for another special ant, keep Golden Spiny, keep Driver, put them in your Formation 3 or Formation 4 in order to have larger gathering pools for AE, so that way you get more points inside of AE. Now, let's say you're starting the game and you have no max troops, but you see these exotic shells. Before you invest your exotic shells into a special ant, you want to have at least 6 maxed ants. So a March Pro 1 and your Pro unit. You also want to keep a shell if it's skill 6 of a different unit. So let's say inside of my March unit, I have this is my Pro, this is my March Unit 1, and none of these guys have skill 6. If I get a shell for New World General, I would keep the New World General shell and unlock skill 6 here. So that way you have more units that you can carry to pre-gather for Gathering Day. More points inside of Alliance Expedition because you're gathering with more A1 or Tier 1, Tier 2 carriers. And then after you've met those criteria, you can start investing your exotic shells into special ants based off of where you want to focus. That being said, if you're a pay-to-win player or even a free-to-play player, but you get the VIP store every week, you should still be buying exotic shells. I personally buy exotic shells every chance I can, and I still am bottlenecked by them. So just because you're not investing them into ants right away, you should be investing into purchasing the exotic shells as frequently as possible, which as of the recording of this video is twice in the VIP store for 15,000 diamonds each. And so every week for that. And then once every 2 weeks from the pack shop underneath, time limited offer event, monthly special, but it's actually a 2-week special. You can get 5. So that's a total of 9 every 2 weeks. The last 2 things I want to cover about special lands before we move on is if you get a master special ant, what I mean by that is if you get a Chicory master, if you get a Reap master, or if you get a Mimicry master, which I have never gotten. But if you get a Reap master, a Chicory master, or a Mimicry master, you, no matter what, want to keep that ant. And if it's, let's say your March Unit 2, March Unit 3 aren't maxed, put them inside of your March Unit 2, March Unit 3 if they're an off troop type. So like for me, I'm a carrier main, Chicory Masters, the master I use. My Reap Master and my Mimicry Master would go into March Unit 3, March Unit 4 for Alliance Expedition only. The reason for that is that it increases march speed by 50%, and then once we ever get to 7 stars, it'll increase it even higher, all the way up to 80%. So that's why you would keep your masters, and you would unlock skill 7, and then go back to utilizing exotic shells. So your priority should be make a March unit, or a pro unit, make a March Unit 1, then utilize or unlock colony leader for any ant inside of March Unit 2 or March Unit 3. Utilize exotic shells. Whenever you get a duplicate of any master, max or level up, or sorry, whenever you get a master at all, unlock skill 7, and then obviously the dupe if you have the dupe for skill 6. But a skill 7 master, so Chicory Master, Mimicry Master, Reap Master, is more valuable in Alliance Expedition points-wise than a duped special ant that is not one of the 3 masters. Alright, you guys, the final thing I want to talk about when talking about Golden Ant investment is, for right now, we've talked about March Unit, Pro Unit, March Unit 1. You would start investing into March Unit 3 and March Unit 4 once your insects start to get up to that level. Sorry, March Unit 2, March Unit 3, once your insects start to get up to that level. What does that mean? That means your first March Unit has at least a 9-star insect, and your second unit either has a 6-star orange insect or a 9-star purple insect, and you're working on your 3rd insect, and it gets to that checkpoint as well. Which brings me into my next topic, insects. So, insects are going to work like, or my recommendation on insects and the Nerd Herd's recommendation on insects works like this. Your first goal as a player should be able to get a 9-star insect. If you're a free-to-play player, be realistic, your first 9-star is going to be purple. If you're a pay-to-win player, your first 9-star is going to be orange. They're not cheaper than what you expect them to be, but you get them a lot faster, especially if you're buying the insect plan, which you obviously showed it's the best value for insects. Once you get a 9-star orange, you should fill your roster with 6-star oranges, so that way you get the boost in combat speed. Now, the reason for 9-star is because that's where typically people stopped, because traditionally the boost from 8-star to 9-star was significant in damage for like Groundhog, player versus player, because of the ability that's unlocked on an insect at level 9, which if we look at that is Special Ant Attack and Special Ant Defense is unlocked. However, we've noted as the Nerd Herd that damage has not been as significant as it was in the past. We're not sure why that is, if it's because genes are overloading the stat value. We don't believe that. Or, as we all know, the developers of this game tend to tweak stats without really discussing it or letting the player base know. So that could be an extreme possibility as to why 9-star insect doesn't drastically change from 8-star, but that's still our recommendation because we assume in a patch the 9-star insect will again become more dominant than an 8-star by a significant amount. After you get a 9-star insect, before going above that, you should fill your roster with a 6-star, a 6-star, and if you're a super pay-to-win player, another 6-star, or a free-to-play player, a light spender, a 9-star purple. I am a higher pay-to-win player, but I took the 6-star that was in here, and I put it here. Why do I say 6-star only for these last two and for March Unit 1? March Unit 1, you'll be working on continuously after you get all the 6 stars for the other two, so it won't stay 6-star for very long. March Unit 2 and March Unit 3 are initially just going to be for Alliance Expedition until you get more orange chance and you start investing into their skills and you get good player versus player units, right? Because March Unit 3 and March Unit 4 are really for player versus player. A 6-star orange insect, which I don't have, has 0.5% less march speed than a 9-star purple insect. So this march speed down here is 24% for an orange insect at 6-star. And you have the combat speed unlocked. You're not getting this additional damage, but your March Unit 2, March Unit 3 aren't really for player versus player initially. So a 6-star orange insect gets you to where you need to go. The last part that I want to talk about in insects for player versus for PvP is the debate in between my first 11-star. Is it going to be a scorpion or an atlas beetle? Well, first off, if you are a shooter main and you want to do groundhog, the argument is that the mantis will have slightly better stats. However, if you have an atlas beetle, the stat difference in between an 11-star mantis and an 11-star beetle is not significant. So the versatility, if you're player versus player focused, of being able to do guardian, shooter, and all of them being there, or to be able to go from shooter for groundhog to carrier for player versus player, or whatever fits your fancy, is a valid argument as to why you would want an 11-star beetle or the better ant or special insect, an 11-star crab. However, if groundhog is your main focus and you're not a player versus player person, totally fine. An 11-star mantis would be significantly better for the minor stat bonuses, because if you're groundhog focused and you're trying to get first place, the 11-star mantis may make or break you in comparison to an 11-star beetle. So that covers my second topic of insects. Let's get on to the third. Alright, you guys. My third topic for this video is evolutions for player versus player. I'm not talking about the evolution priority. I'm not talking about what evolutions I would do when. I'm not talking about how much... I'm not talking about that. I am literally talking about certain keywords inside of evolutions that people are curious about the definition. So, the first one comes from the newest definition inside of the Evo tree. So, the crush effect towards lower level soldier ants. It's basically an arbitrary percentage, as far as we can tell, of an additional amount of damage that's going to be dealt to lower level ants so tier level that is lower, such as like a tier 10 going against a tier 9. The tier 9 will be dealt additional damage. We don't know the percents right now. I don't understand what this 1% is for, because it changes the higher level the gap of soldier ant, the better the effect of crush. So I don't know what this 1 through 10% is, because it clearly states here that the effect of crush will be magnified when going T8 versus T10 in comparison to T9 versus T10. So it'll take more testing. This Evo just came out, but that's what crush is an increase in damage potential solely due to it. All right, the next one is Fatal Strike. Increase the fatal rate, the proportion of enemy injured converted to dead. What this means, a dead ant does not, when your march comes back to the healing pool or to your hill, traditionally it would be able to be healed. However, with fatal attack and by natural resources, if it's dead, it will not be healed. It'll just disappear forever if dead. Okay, the next thing that I want to talk to you guys about is Shooter Ant's Harsh Strike. Increased Shooter Ant critical rate. Crit rate is, or crit damage is 150% of normal damage. So if you're normally doing 10 damage, it'll do 15 damage. And this increases the chance of getting a crit. It does not increase the crit rate, is the rate at which you crit, not the amount of damage you do when you crit. The evidence will be posted in my Discord. Arconis did it on a Groundhog when Groundhog still had no defense. Groundhog now has defense, so it would be harder to prove now. But before, when Groundhog didn't have defense, which that proof for both is also in my Discord, this test was ran, and that's how the determination of what a crit was determined. I'll also briefly show it on screen. Alright, so here briefly is the proof of what critical damage is. I'm going to be honest, Arconis is insane with math. I trust him. That's enough for me. Arconis could tell me that it was 1,000,000% more, and I'd probably believe him. The math is here. I will leave it in my Discord. You guys can ask Arconis to walk you through it if you need the help. Again, very difficult to redo this testing, right? In the science community, you should be able to perform a test in order to determine accuracy. Very hard to do because the Groundhog now has defense, whereas at this time frame, it did not have defense. Again, developers changing coding all the time without telling players. The next one that I want to talk about is Invasion, right? So increases Shooter Ant invasion defense. So invasion is only when hitting a hill. So invasion is when hitting a hill. It's not when hitting a squirter. It's not when hitting a resource tile. It is when strictly hitting a hill. That is when invasion keywords and stats are in effect. The next one I want to talk to you guys about, a common question inside my Discord. Field Battle increases carry ant attack in field battle. Field Battle is only either resource tiles. So if I were to, right now I'm in an enemy hive, if I were to hit this tile, I would do additional damage because my Field Battle is leveled up. Or these little tent things that people can do by occupying a tile, which why this person does that, I couldn't tell you the darndest, but that's what they do. This would also be invasion defense. It does not apply to insects. It only applies to player versus player when hitting a tile, not when invading the anthill. All right, the next definition that I really want to talk to you guys about is, so increases all soldier attack in enemy war zone during the Strongest War Zone event. Strongest War Zone is not the kill event. Strongest War Zone is at all times, right? Strongest War Zone. The server versus server is just Strongest War Zone. So every day is Strongest War Zone. So if we look at Zone Fight and we look at the right-hand side, the invasion attack, enemy server. So this only applies during the kill event every other Sunday once you reach bronze, and if you're in their server. However, on the left-hand side, this just says increase all soldier attack during the Strongest War Zone event. Every day, all day, no matter what, We have not proved during the 4-hour matchmaking gap. We have proved every other time increases all soul drain attack is just when hitting something. Right? If we scroll down here, ambush increases all soul drain attack when invading enemy hills in Warzone, in your Warzone during strongest Warzone event. That is even same server, different alliance. 7 days a week, every day. Again, still gotta verify the 4 hours during matchmaking. So that's a good way to determine between left and right. Right, because the right-hand side says enemy Warzone. The only one that does not work like that is fatal attack. This just says increases fatal rate when invading enemy hills during the strongest war zone. So this works on both sides and all the time. Alright, you guys. That covers it really for definitions. I just wanted to give that because it's a common question that I ask, and it was a question that was asked while coming up with the topics of this video. If you guys have more topics, more definitions I should have covered, things like that, please feel free to hit up my Discord. Again, always active, always there. And if I feel like it's enough content for another video, I will make a video. Otherwise, we'll at least answer your question inside of that, or inside the Discord. Again, the next planned video for Thursday is going to be my Ant PvP tier list. I haven't decided if I'm going to do all 3 in the same video or if I'm just going to release them in alphabetical order. Thank you guys. Let's get on to the 2,800 subscriber giveaway. Alright, you guys, you know how we do it when we do it over here. We're going to go ahead, right-click copy so everyone can clearly see that I'm utilizing this one. Then we're going to right-click copy, paste right here. We're going to filter duplicate users. We're going to include reply comments. We're going to filter comments based on specific text. We're going to go into the description. And we're going to right-click, or we're going to copy, right-click, copy, and paste. Real quick, you guys. The last winner, Sean, does not live in the United States. And we were unable to get the Google Play gift card to work. And none of the methods that I've used in the past worked with him. So if you guys have a solution that I can use with him or have any ideas, I would love to hear it because I feel really bad that I can't help him this time. Otherwise, you know, I'm limited to what I have available to me, which is apparently US/Canada region locked Google Play gift cards. So if anyone has any ideas on how to help him and future YouTube people get a reward, please let me know. But I can't do anything about the region lock. So please, if you have any help or advice, please hit my Discord. Anyways, secondary unit, you guys, we're going to get comments. 47 unique comments. Alright, that's pretty awesome. I'm really happy about that for how long the video's been out. It's only been out for 3 days. And let's press start. Caleb Colt 45. Colt 45 by Afro Man. Very good song. Hope that doesn't make you unsubscribe, but you know. Caleb Colt 45, secondary unit. Congratulations, you guys. Again, you must have been a YouTube subscriber prior to this being released. If I get a push notification that you subscribe after your name was released, you will, by default, lose the ability to have won. And if you're outside of the U.S., hopefully we can figure out a way to get you the prize that you've obviously won. Alright, you guys. That's it for today. Thanks again. Huge shout out to my Patreon. We got another Patreon. Very, very thankful for all of their support. And a huge shout out to Fox from server 475. I would love to shout out all of my Patreons. If you would like me to use a certain name, because on Patreon your full real name comes out. Please message me back on Patreon. But a huge shout out to my Patreons. I think I'm going to try and get like a cool thing in the display. I don't know why I'm pointing at my computer. To try and call them out that way instead of saying their names every time or saying certain people's names based off of their tier. Anyways, I really am appreciative. It means a lot and shows me that I shouldn't stop making content. With that, a free way to show me I should keep making content is to like and subscribe to this my YouTube channel. I appreciate it. It means a whole lot to me. Super helpful in everything that goes on with making a YouTube channel, you guys. Until next time, you guys, you can catch me in the YouTube comments. I'm pretty active down there. You can catch me in Discord. I'm the most active person in my Discord. Happy to help. And if you don't want to hear from me, you want to hear from someone else, the Nerd Herd is in there, and they are amazing. This video today would not be possible without the Nerd Herd's help. They gave me definitions. They helped me understand. Arconis literally proved critical damage to me. They helped me determine the best way to utilize each of the topics today. They are just as equally responsible for this content. I may be the spokesperson, but their knowledge is what gets me to be able to make these videos for you guys. Or, worst case scenario, like I always say, server 193. I'm there every day. Feel free to DM me. Until next time, you guys, stay humble, stay happy, stay hungry. Bye, y'all.